Ryan Spenson.
And we are here for episode 3 of the Songwriters Circles about the artist. And in studio with us today, we have the one and only AJ Gaither. How you doing today, AJ?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Doing pretty good. Glad you could be here with us today. I understand you played last night at Black Apple Crossing in Springdale, Arkansas. How was that?
It was a good show, man. It was a pretty decent turnout. The weather was nice, so we was able to do the show on the patio out back there, and it was a real good time.
I haven't been able to make it to Black Apple Crossing yet, but a lot of the artists in Northwest Arkansas have been playing there, and thanks to Emerge Entertainment, and shout out to Travis and Kim.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Kim for helping you get here today and be here with us. She's sitting here with us all shy and cute, but we're not going to mic her, but we're definitely going to talk about her and say thank you to her for
If we
helping.
try really hard, maybe we'll get her to laugh out loud and
we might
catch her
get her to
on
giggle.
tape somehow.
Don't laugh, Kim. Don't laugh. Anyway, so moving along, we're here to talk about your life travels as a musician, as a singer-songwriter, and we're also going to go back over some of the interviews we had from Melody Guy and from Efren White,
Walter Schmidt,
Candy Lee.
the 1-year anniversary. 2 years is coming up. I want to plan a really nice big event for that. With
One
some
day we'll
heavy
list
hitters.
all of the artists that we've had, because that list goes on, and it continues to grow. And thankfully we're getting regional artists as well as our local artists, and we're kind of able to bridge a gap between the local people who have maybe never heard of some of these regional artists, and then they get an up-close, intimate look at what these people do, for a living every day, as opposed to just hearing them in a bar somewhere, just a coffee house where you're kind of just paid to be, as Jed Clampett says, wallpaper. You're kind of just there for just, hey, can you keep it down a little? Have you heard that before?
Oh, yeah. Hey, the folks in the back got a question. You think it's maybe like a request or a song they want to hear, but it's, hey, could you turn it down a little bit? Like they're trying to talk, or we can't hear the game, or... My favorite one is, I play a lot of different types of spots, and some of them are dedicated music venues, some of them are just sports bars, and a lot of times they don't even turn the big screen TV that's right above your head off. They might mute it for you, but they don't turn it off, and you'll play a song, and every now and again, you'll end that song or hit that solo right as the team scores a point, and the next thing you know, the crowd's jumping and clapping in the bar. You're like, fucking A, I finally got through to these people. And you remember that it's just because KU scored a point.
I've never thought about that, because I've always been in...
It's a part of my day-to-day life.
I've always been in big rock bands, and so, no, you can't play in a sports bar because everybody's turned up, and I'm the loudest drummer, in 3 states sometimes.
Right.
So that's never happened to me. I've never even thought about
Yeah,
that.
exactly. It's funny you bring that point up. There's a whole bunch of experiences that are kind of specific to being either a solo or a duo, or in my case, it's kind of a one-man band where, like you said, you're a rock band. I'm a drummer too, and I play plugged in electric guitars, and so at times I'm very much a rock band, but people don't see that. They see one dude, and so you get set up under the TV, and they don't turn it off. And so it's a weird dynamic doing what I do, You play wherever you can play, and so you got to take those sports bar gigs because that's where the gas money's at.
One of my favorite gigs in town, I'm going to name drop here a little bit, but Foghorns, they are one of the best sports bars around. They've got TVs every 6 inches, if you will, and the owner really does love local live music, and he built a little patio.
A lot of bars
for
shut them
it.
down, and they have a dedicated area for the music, and that's really cool.
I literally have set up underneath the TV, and I've experienced that. And one of my favorite conundrums, favorite pickles I've ever been in. Here comes a family walking in, and they've got their little daughter dressed up in her cheerleading outfit, and the son is in the baseball uniform, and they just got done from a game, and they're coming to eat, and it's like 8:30, and the kids really should be in bed. I got my homie, we're playing music, and we have, because we're in that type of environment, we're ready to take requests at any time. We're just willing to please the crowd. If they're paying attention to us, we're going to take a request. So we have a little iPad set over to the side, and no one is paying attention to us at all. They're paying attention to the game. And so, but the kids, I noticed, I'm like, hey, do you know any Disney songs? He's like, hold on a second. And I'm like, look up Let It Go. And I start singing the Disney song from Frozen. and here comes the little girl, and she's dancing. Well, here comes tips come flying in the tip jar because the parents were not paying a bit of attention to us.
That's child exploitation.
Well, you know what? It worked. We somehow got across. We got our point across. Was, you know, the game. You pay attention to your kids because the kids know what's up. It's in the music, and so we were.
I've always said I trust a kid's judgment about music better, typically because they don't really know trends or cool or anything. They just know. I'm talking about little bitty kids. You know, I mean, you're talking about once they're old enough to understand Disney, it's a whole different story. I mean, all they know is what they're taught on TV and ads. But if you catch them before then, before they're poisoned by the television, I'm always flattered when little toddlers and stuff are dancing to my music. You know, because that just means that's pure musical enjoyment. They don't understand that it's cool because bluegrass is hip this year. They don't understand that it's from, you know, they just know, oh, I like this, you know. So I'm always flattered by that, you know. And it's funny to talk about the kids and the tips. I was at Lake Ozark this year, and I was playing to almost pretty much, I'm not an empty room, but it was, you know, early afternoon, not a lot going on. This family comes in with a bunch of kids, and they come in, and I see it all go down from across the room. He kind of tugs at his dad's shirt, and he hands him a big $5 bill. That's a big tip in my world. And he comes running down with this $5 bill, holding it in his hand, like he's got it kind of squozed up in his hand. They're crinkled up, and he comes up and he goes, play. I'm not sure what he meant. I think he said play Countryman or something, man. I think it was a line from a song. And at any rate, I don't do any covers, you know. And so I was like, well, I don't know it. You know, awesome. I don't know that song. And he goes, well, kind of looks at me and he goes, well, we'll play Call Me Maybe. And I kind of chuckled. I was like, I really don't play music like that. I tell you what, and I went to try to, you know, bargain with this kid. Like, I'll play a song about trains. I got that or whatever. And before I could even get that sped out, he turns around and runs back across the venue. He goes back to his dad, $5 bill still in his hand. He goes, he doesn't even know Call Me Maybe. And him and his dad both had a laugh, and he put the money back in his wallet. And, yeah, it's a real story that happened.
Denied.
Denied.
Wow.
Yeah, so moral of the story, kids, if you want to make money playing music, you should learn covers.
Or go get an iPad, at least. You know,
get an iPad, you know. Yeah, get yourself an iPad.
That is fucked up. And a great segue into this issue, because Richard Burnett,
One of my dearest friends and one of the best musicians that I've ever had the pleasure of playing with, he talks about playing gigs like this, and his problem is originals. Here at the Circles, we really want to know the process of songwriting and how that is affected by these venues. Because for him, he has to play covers.
You have to.
Until the crowd is invested enough in that performance that he can break out Brother Dad. And, you know, sometimes it's received well, sometimes he says he sneaks them in when nobody's paying attention. And that's when he gets to play his originals, is when everyone's looking at the TV. Then he breaks out some raucous shit.
And so I'm probably doing that entirely wrong, actually.
So, I mean,
I'm coming out with originals all night, and then if you get me drunk enough, I might play a cover. You know what I mean? But
how does that work for you? Because I had to enter the live music world with, like, I knew 14 cover songs. That's all I knew when I first joined a band.
That's more than I've ever played.
But that was all. But
ever.
I was getting, people were asking me, hey, I've heard you sing. Would you mind coming and sing? I'm like, I'm sure. So how does it work when you enter the world as an original artist only?
I mean, you know, when I first started out playing music, I mean, you have to have some cover songs, like he was saying, you have to have something to pull them in with, but I was just immediately obsessed with just writing material.
Composing,
you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I wrote enough, and pretty soon I had, you need about 45 minutes, you know, and so as soon as I did, I tried to stick to doing that, and it's been kind of like this, like you won't grow an audience as quick because people kind of want to hear something they're comfortable with. They want to hear something they've already heard before, they can already dance to or know some words to. So you won't grow an audience as quick, but if you really work at it and if you connect with that audience and you can get them to take your CD home, sell them a CD, then they'll listen to it. And, I've been doing this a few years, and I'm just now getting to the point where people are coming to shows and they're singing and requesting my songs.
That's great.
Well, that says a lot about you off stage, I would think, because you kind of have to be your own PR guy.
Oh, no, I do. I have to be everybody in this operation most of the time. And you got to kind of really connect with people. And it's funny using those type of terms like, my own PR guy and my own this or that, because I I don't feel like any of that. You know, I'm really just a person that wants to play people's songs, I guess. You know, yeah. But that all comes as part of it. You know, if you want to reach more people, then you do have to do some PR work. You know, if you want to reach more people, you do have to.
But the fact that it comes naturally for you is something that I think other songwriters that might be listening to this would aspire to. That maybe they don't understand why their original songs are not reaching the audience the way that they want them to. It's because it is a simple thing, but it's something that also, if you're so involved in one part of the process, which is just getting your songs out and banging them out on the guitar. We know a guy like that just sits on the porch and just bangs his songs out, you know. I'm not going to say his name, but Chandler. Anyway.
I've recorded a song with him.
When you're so involved in that process, you don't pull your head up enough to... I mean, and there's a lot of anxiety. I mean, just to get on stage and to make yourself vulnerable with your own words and your own feelings over music that people, let's hope they're listening to.
Right.
And then you step off stage and you're like, oh, okay, I'd rather just go smoke.
You know, back to one of those weird things about being one guy is like, I end my shows either with a really big bang sort of song that's got these huge, you know, the drums and everything are loud, or I end it with a quiet song sometimes. And either way, you do it, and like, all right, folks, thank you kindly, and you slide that microphone out the way, but you're still just sitting there, and they're still just sitting there. There's not like 5 guys in the band to diffuse the audience. Like, I gotta have a cigarette. The bass player is like, even when I was just a 2-piece band, I started out with the Fall Down Drunks, and that was always me. After the show, I wanted to go chill in the van. I needed to hang out, but I couldn't talk to people. But my guitar player, he was opposite of that. He was just social butterfly, and he was just the king of getting free drinks. And so the second we were done off stage, he wanted to go talk to everybody. He wanted to go hang out and shake hands and take shots, and I didn't. And so that worked well. And when I went solo, I've got to be that guy now, you know. And sometimes it's okay. Sometimes I like hanging out. Sometimes you're really tired. You just play 4 hours and you just sing a song about every bad thing that's happened in your life.
There's a state of mind that you get into when you challenge yourself and you do something that you're invested into and you get feedback like that. It's called flow.
And
for me, I noticed as a drummer, I would get so into these originals because you put everything into these, and that's the only reason I ever wanted to play music is to make music with my homies, record it, and shoot it into space at the speed of light. That's all I give a fuck about. You would find that you get done with your set, and you're not even really that person that you were at the beginning of the night. Your brain chemistry's changed.
Oh yeah, totally.
You've been in the zone, and you're playing this music you love, and then all of a sudden you're supposed to be a person again. And I've always found that transition hard. I'm not the guy as much as I'm an extrovert, and after a show, I have to find myself again.
Well, even as someone who does perform covers, I still emote the words. I mean,
I think singers have an easier time doing that with covers because even if the song wasn't written by you, when you sing it, it is you.
For me,
I mean, it's
now there's karaoke nights where I go do Eminem, and
I really
it's
don't know
great.
But
But
nobody wants to hear me sing.
So let's just go back to right after my divorce, and I'm singing Fleetwood Mac on stage, and I'm thinking, oh my God, Stevie Nicks wrote all these songs just for me. I wasn't even born yet when some of these songs were written, you know. And
just sing them.
But for me, I'm there to deliver a performance. Every show is a show. It's not a gig. To me, if you want to keep your fan base, you give them what they ask for. If they're paying for $5 for parking, $5 to get in, $5 for a drink, they've spent $15 already just to come and see you.
Wow.
And so if you're...
where these going to these shows at.
I mean,
this was Jose's on Dixon.
That's modern Dixon. That's modern Dixon. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I agree.
And I packed the crowd, but it was because I delivered another person's songs in my way, and I was able to connect to the crowd that way. And that is what made me feel that I could write my own songs and emote them to them. Because I'm like, if I can deliver somebody else's material to them and make them feel it, then what are they going to do when I give them my material? And thankfully they appreciate it, and I've been able to grow as a songwriter. But I was so, and that's why we have the Songwriters Circles. I was an insecure songwriter. I didn't think that I was good enough to be Stevie Nicks,
Right.
to be all of these amazing songwriters that I emulate on a nightly basis and get paid $50 a pop.
Right.
You know, like that. I'm still making money hand over fist, but it's not my music,
Right.
and it started to stifle me as an artist.
Doing this podcast the way that we do it absolutely brings out the best in people, and having AJ here in studio with us today is something that I never would have been able to think, that I never would have imagined would happen. And so, AJ, while you're here, why don't you play us a song?
Well, I put the brakes on my Ford, and then it ran right out of gas. Well, I put the brakes on my Ford, and then it ran right out of gas. And now I'm stuck out on this highway, and everybody drives right on past. Well, I went to see my good girl, and she said I couldn't stay. Well, I went to see my good girl, she said I couldn't stay. It said some man went twice on money, and he was headed this way. Well, I wonder, girl, I wonder where our good time went. I said, I wonder, girl, I wonder where our good time went. Yeah, but all my weed's gone and all my money had been spent. She don't come around no more. Well, I put the brakes on my Ford, and then it ran right out of gas. Well, I put the brakes on my Ford, and then it ran right out of gas. Now I'm stuck out on this highway, and everybody drives right on.
I'm so glad we have AJ here with us today. And so while we have him in studio, I think I want to take a little bit of advantage and get some music from him. So let's hear another song from AJ Gaither right now.
This is not a political song because political songs expect you to choose a side. This is a protest song. I think protest songs just want you to burn the motherfucker down. And basically what it's about is, you know, we complain about the way the people running the country treat us, but the people running the country are funded by all these corporations and businesses that we just seem to keep throwing all of our money at. And so basically we're empowering the powerful and then we complain about how we get treated. So this little song is just kind of, it's something to thumb to yourself when you're walking through the Walmart aisle there and think about what you're spending your money on and where it's going and who you're giving your power to. It's true what they say, that tired cliche. They don't build them like they did back when. You can get your dollar's worth, it was your right of birth. It's a hard-working American. But now we buy more, buy more bullshit every day. Yeah, we buy more, buy more bullshit every day. All the men in control have lost sight of the goal. Yeah, they've all sold our souls away. But if all of us folk stood up in revolt, hell, they'd have to do things our way. And still we buy more, we buy more, we buy more of their shit every day. Yeah, you buy more, you buy more, you buy more bullshit every day. Them ads on TV and the internet memes, the day job, they're stealing your dream. You're surrounded by greed, stuff you don't need, just wondering why you don't feel free. It's 'cause you buy more, you buy more, you buy more bullshit every day. Yeah, we buy more, we buy more, buy more bullshit every day. Yeah, you buy more, and they'll make more, and it's just more bullshit every day. It's a true story.
Fucking beautiful.
Hey. All right.
And joining us in studio today is the one and only AJ Gaither.
Howdy.
Thank you for the songs that you just played for us. Those were great. And so let's talk a little bit about your songwriting process.
Mm-hmm.
What you were telling us that you've only been doing this for 6 years.
Yeah, about 6 years.
So 6 years ago, what in the world inspired you to write your first song?
You know, like I said, I'd always been a pretty hardcore music fan, and even as a youth and a teenager, like I wanted to be a musician. I wanted to play music and write songs, and I did try. It just always seemed like massive failures. Anything I wrote down just seemed ridiculous, and why would anyone ever want to read this, let alone make a song out of it? And I tried to play guitar for maybe a month of my teenage years, and just decided it hurt too bad. It wasn't for me. I couldn't play guitar, and so I just kind of gave up on it. I was just a fan of music, and I just kind of went through life that way. I was a car guy. I worked on custom cars, and I had a good job working on cars. I had a little apartment. I had a new truck. I had a motorcycle. I had the whole life, sort of.
Building the American
dream, but still wasn't quite happy. And kind of the trigger was, and I know this is cliche, but it's just the facts. The girl I was living there with, we was not married. We were living in sin, and a girlfriend there was living with.
Shacked up.
We was shacked up, and she was pretty much the drive for all that other stuff. For working as hard as I was working and having the little apartment and stuff. And she up and left. She left, and she left in such an abrupt hurry.
She didn't just leave. She up and left.
She up and left in such an abrupt hurry that she didn't even take most of her stuff. She left most everything there. She, ironically, and I know this all sounds very cliche, she ran off with a musician, man. She had been kind of half hanging out with this banjo picker in a bluegrass band. And this is all, mind you, I don't, I'm just kind of, working a job and not really into all this at this point. And she runs off. She left most of her stuff in the apartment, including her clothes and her guitar. She played a little bit of guitar. I did not. And being just there alone in the apartment, drunk off my ass every night, I eventually picked the guitar up and kind of playing with it. And I don't know, something hit me that this is something I wanted to do now. Like I either wanted to kind of crawl under a rock and die, or I wanted to actually make music, which is something I dreamt of my whole life.
I don't think
Grab
I've
the girlfriend's guitar.
I don't think I've ever heard a more clear description of a muse.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I mean,
it's not that I love this. I've never been one to understand, like, oh, I love this girl, so I'm going to write songs about her. I've never done that, but, like, this girl left me that I loved. Oh, my goodness, I'm going to write some songs about that, because, like, you're bleeding and you're hurting, and what else do you do?
She was your driving force for why you got up and went to work every day.
Right. No, there was none of that, and I quickly lost the job, I lost the apartment, I lost all that shit. But I kept making music, and then and the other thing for me was building these guitars. You know, like I said, I built custom cars, and I always was a maker, a builder of things. And so when I could build my own instrument, it gave me more drive to like work through the pain as far as like, you know, learning to play an instrument, and that struggle and that, you know, frustration. And so that's the thing for me too. I don't really play a normal guitar much. I mean, I tried to play 6-string for a while, but it's not my instrument. You know, the 4-string cigar box is my instrument. That's what I play full time, and so that lends itself to writing my songs. Like, they sound the way they do because the instrument they're written on, you know, they're written for that instrument. And so that was kind of the drive. And then from there, you know, it started out where everyone starts out. You look at what songs do you like, and you kind of emulate them. And so there's just, you know, I'm a roots guy, so there was just your basic country song stories and kind of bluesy sort of stories and generalizations. But these days I'm writing more songs specific to my actual experiences and more specific to experiences of those going around me, and more like about current event sort of stuff. Trying to really evolve as more of a songwriter, you know. Like, a lot of people see a one-man band and they think, oh, cool, he's got a kick drum, but they don't really listen to the words. And so I've been trying to come forth as a songwriter too lately. You know?
I have trouble writing happy songs. Do you?
Oh yeah, same. No, I do not write happy songs at all. Like, the closest one I have, I guess, to a happy song, it really pops in my head is I've got one called Mama Said, and it's just about how, like, when we were poor, my mom would tell us that, like, even though you're kind of broke and we don't have any money, like, you need to enjoy yourself. And that's why we'd have, like, get-togethers and people come over and we'd barbecue and stuff.
Yeah.
And the guitar would come out and music could get played sometimes, because it's just about enjoying yourself in spite of, like, how terrible your life may be, is kind of what that song's about. And that's the happiest song I have. You know?
But I get so happy playing the
absolutely
sad songs that I
Well,
write.
it's about, I think, understanding that you're not the only one hurting, you know. That's why when you're missing someone and you listen to that sad Tear in My Beer country song, people are like, why would you want to hear that sad shit? Well, because I know that dude, that tough-ass motherfucker, he was sad and crying in his beer once too, you know. And so maybe I'm not so far removed from humanity after all, you know.
As a touring guy who plays out and travels to play your shows, how much time do you spend? This is kind of a double question here, two-part question. How much time do you spend on those hours on the road in reflection, and then when does that translate into song? I mean, is it sound check? Is it sitting by yourself in hotel room? I mean, because I've traveled some, and there's just time with yourself.
Yep. Oh yeah.
And so you have to reflect back on these, you know, these bad feelings, these pathologies where you feel like you screwed up.
It's like 50-50.
Well, I'm curious where that transition happens.
It's kind of a funny thing, man. I spent a lot of time, you know, when I first started doing this and started writing songs, I wasn't traveling as much. And as I progressed along, I travel more and more. I really travel constantly now. And so it is weird. Sometimes I have these thoughts for songs and you think about it. You know, I feel like lately a lot of good ideas are wasted on the windshield, I like to think, you know, because like I had this idea, but I just couldn't write it down. You know, I travel alone, and I haven't taught the dog to hold a pen yet and take notes. So
it's troublesome.
Yeah, you know, and so I travel alone, and so sometimes I think to write something down, it hits me. Usually, I also tell myself, you know, the flip side of that coin is if it was good, it'll stick. And so I try to repeat stuff in my head and ideas, and if it's good, it sticks, and I eventually write about it. So I feel like that's when it transitions. When I've been thinking about it long enough that I'm like, that is a song that's been rattling around in your head. It's not just a line, now it's a song. And that's when I'll actually maybe start to, like, I'll take the time, and I use it in the hotel. I don't do the hotel thing, but in my little micro camper, if I'm sitting alone at night or early in the morning, I wake up about 6 in the morning, and that's when I do a lot of this too. I wake up, and that's when I was trying to start writing it down and working with songs and putting it to music, and it becomes a song.
Do you use any digital format? I mean, like, do you record, dictate to yourself?
You know, I kind of do. I know our phones have the little recorder thing on us, on all of them now.
That's a no compared to what we've heard.
Right.
You know,
right? And I kind of use, sometimes I record them, but I feel like And I always think in school, someone told me you don't take notes so that you look at your notes later. You take notes because the act of writing them down helps you remember it. And so, like, yes, I put my phone out and I record myself. Like, I recorded myself singing songs as I drove down the road. I recorded, like, licks on my guitar that I wanted to remember. I don't think I ever listened to that recording again and went, oh, that's how that went. I just remembered it because I recorded it down, you know. I mean, sometimes I'll stumble over a song and be like, oh, that was that thing, you know. But it's not as interesting. I feel like, again, if it was good, it'll stick. You know, if it was good, it'll stick.
I'm just anal enough that I take notes so that I can review them.
See, I don't.
And that's fascinating.
But do you write a riff at a time or a lyric at a time, or do you write the whole thing
They
at once?
either just all come at once or they don't usually. I might have a line, but I feel like the more you force a song, the worse it's going to be. Like, I really not trying to force anything. Like, my newest one now that I'm really proud of is funny because it starts out talking about being awake at 3 a.m. in the morning, like waking up and just being kind of lost feeling. And that's how I was. And I literally woke up and sat on the edge of the bed and wrote that song, like, just all at once. And it just came out the way it came out. And some of them that way, some of them, most of it comes out and there's that ending line or that opening line that I kind of struggle coming up with, or how do I put it to music. But for the most part, I try not to force them. I try to let everything I do be real natural.
I always struggle with a bridge, and I know it's
oh yeah, absolutely.
because the way I write is straightforward. It's chorus, verse,
It took me a
solo
while
out.
to even figure out, like, that was a thing. Like, somebody like, hey, AJ.
I know
they pull me aside, like, you need to put a bridge in that fucker.
Because every song is chorus.
Every song, same thing,
and I'm like,
yeah.
you know, I don't mean them to all sound the same.
Totally.
And so I'm a Virgo. I can't see the forest for the trees, and I focus too hard on trying to add a bridge, and then I throw the whole song in the trash.
Maybe you didn't need it. Some songs don't even need a chorus or anything to ever be repeated, and you struggle to find the hook. It's like it didn't need it because it was a story.
Blues,
it didn't need it.
Because I come up with one good repetitive thing, a good
That's
hook.
what I started was writing blues tunes, exactly, because you just come up with one idea and you throw it in that for, and I still.
But that also helps me become. But when I first, as a writer, I mean, I wasn't a songwriter. I was a pianist and I was a writer. I didn't put the two together for a long time, in my late 20s, early 30s, and so as a writer, I'm so wordy. I put so many words on paper. Like, I'm using all the words I can think of. If they rhyme, if they don't rhyme, and like my pentameter, diameter.
Well, that's just because you speak English.
Well,
that's where
it's a lot of people speak English. They don't write it down.
You speak the Queen's English technically.
I do, but as a songwriter, what I realized the beauty was in the simplicity of being able to deliver your point with as few words as possible.
Absolutely.
Being as visually creative as you can with your words in as few words as possible.
In the writing circles, we call that distilling the language.
Yeah. And see, it's funny because I learned these things kind of like I learned in such a reversed order. Like, when I started writing songs, my songs are very simple, but not because I knew that was a good way to write, but because I wasn't a writer and I was struggling just to put them together. And it's like, this is 2.5 minutes, fine, it's a song. And then years later, people are coming up to me and they're saying just what you said, like, AJ, we really like your songs because you say so much with so few words. I'm like, well, I only had so many words, man. I did what I could with the time, and I thought my songs were too simple, but it turns out that's kind of a plus.
So that leads to the question,
that, like you said,
have you, it doesn't sound like to me that you are a collaborative artist.
Not at all. Even when I started out in the Fall Down Drunks, we maybe had one song that we worked on and together, and that was about it, man. I think about sometimes working with people for songwriting, like collaborating, but I've never really done it, and it feels kind of weird and alien to me. I don't know. Maybe someday, but not yet.
It's madness to me, because we ask the question a lot, the difference between songwriters and composers. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's an easy one, because I'm not writing any lyrics. I don't even want to. I'm a prose writer.
You saw my Facebook. That's a complex question.
It is, but and for me, it's easily answered because I am just a composer. Bridges. I mean, how many do you need?
Right.
Because I'm going to texture the music as much as possible. All I see is the flow of the song musically.
Composing, exactly.
I don't even know what words are supposed to sound like. I mean, to hear that kind of story for me is just. What a great musician moment, that dynamic, because I am the polar opposite of you, but but it would be fun. We should get in the studio sometime.
But at the same time, I absolutely could not keep a rhythm to save my life.
It's not just that. We talk about Perry a lot. I remember him saying in practice rooms, "Hey man, just feel it." And I'm like, I'm a drummer. Yeah. I don't even know what you're talking about, right?
I can feel me.
1, 2, 3, 4, homeboy. Like I count this stuff.
Totally.
I am a very mechanical musician, and it's so fun to hear about these organic stories.
As far as playing music with people, it's funny. You're mentioning like flow earlier, like flow space, that sort of thing. Like
finding the jam.
I'm in another outfit now called Grassfed. That I play my homemade bass in, which is the instrument I played in my first little outfit. And when I'm with them, like you were saying, like I don't write any songs in their band. There's 5 of us, and all 4 of them are really good songwriters, and they're young and getting better all the time. And so, like, they want me to write songs. I probably will eventually, but for now, I enjoy being in their band because I'm just the bass player. All I got to do is show up, and I kind of feel it, and I play bass with them. And I don't have to. I have no interest in writing lyrics because, like, I've been writing all my own and doing, and so I love what I do. But man, the break to be able to just be in a band feels nice too.
Collaboration is my. I mean, it's the.
So maybe that is the next step to you potentially collaborating, is being able to trust these people enough with your vulnerability and lyrics, and
maybe, and I see probably, I see maybe doing some songs. I'll probably write some songs that'll be released as grass-fed tunes that I've written. I really am adamant about, I don't want my one-man band to add, I don't want to add members to it, and I won't call any names at all, but I see one-man bands that I really like, because when I first see them, they're like, that's one dude doing all that, just one guy against the world, and one guy making all that noise, and one guy just traveling, and that was the fire that got me to do it. And then when I see them add some people to their band, or it just is like, and that's just me. And so I want to do other projects. I've thought about starting another band. I definitely love being in Grass-Fed, but I don't want to lose any steam for my solo thing.
Exactly, and
I want that to keep going. That's definitely.
But I like the idea of you kind of peppering yourself around.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, I want to be in other people's bands. I do like that. I need a band to play harmonica in right now. Is what I need. I need
there's always an opening in West Street Blues Band. We don't pay, but
I don't think anybody plays a harmonica player actually.
No. I mean, I have a keyboard player, and he's lucky. He's got a pacemaker. His wife gets paid. Right. We keep him around because Social Security ain't kicked in yet. Yeah. But no, it's really fun to see the fact that you can show up in any town and blend in, and play your original music, and you're received.
Totally, it's a blessing. It really is. I never would have imagined. Yeah,
like you would not believe, because I've done that. But I've only gone and sat as a blues singer. I don't have an instrument in my hands. Right. And so to go and sit in Memphis or Kansas City, I have to walk into the band and go, hey, it's a 1-4-5 and A.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on.
Trust that they're going to follow you there.
And hang on. And the drummer, it's a shuffle, dude. Come on. And then it doesn't matter what I sing over that. They don't care.
Right. They just hold the shuffle and Totally.
But so I went and I sat at the jam at Knuckleheads, and I sang like a couple. And then I was like, all right, 1-4-5 and A, it's a shuffle. And they're thinking we're going to do Sweet Home Chicago.
Yeah.
I did my originals.
Totally, yeah.
And it sounds like Sweet Home Chicago, but I did it, and the crowd was nuts for it. And so, forevermore, I will continue to write music that sounds comfortable for you.
Absolutely.
But it's mine.
Absolutely.
Thank you, both of you. As an original musician, because I don't play covers at all, and every band I've been in, we were talking earlier, and I haven't played a cover since I was 16 or 17 years old. So for me, that's the quintessential thing. I'm so glad you play originals.
Thank you, man.
I want you to play originals. I'm with you. So many times you're just playing to the other musicians in the room,
right?
And that takes a dedication to the art. Because and those moments are great. You can mirror up, and you get feedback from those other musicians, and that can be its own thing.
But once they trust you,
it's a long
there's no glory in it, but there's fulfillment, and that's a big deal.
It's so fulfilling, because you get on stage and you learn each other in the blink of an eye. I mean, I'm up on sorry. I'm up on stage with people I've never met and will never see again. And we have a total of maybe 15 minutes to gel. And here's a couple one you're familiar with. Right. Now I'm going to throw you a curveball real quick. But hang on, you trust me, right? And they do. And it's the most fun thing. And then I just walk off stage and take my little curtsy and go get my little rum and coke and go home.
Oh, God. Yeah, I have to break down cymbals and stands and entire drum session.
I play roadie, too. Ask Chris Lager Band.
The key, you play roadie.
Hey, I'm still in a dress.
All right, we're about out of time, Amanda. What's up?
So for anyone who wants to follow AJ, find him on Facebook.
Yeah, what's your spiel, man? Let's hear it.
You can
what do you want to tell the people?
AJ Gaither on Facebook, or you can go to www.ajgaithermusic.com for show dates and other information about me. I've got a YouTube channel that's just AJ Gaither OMB, and just come check me out, see what I'm doing. Most of all, I want you to come to a show, so find out where I'm at when I'm in your area. And
you're going to be back here in July?
June
16th.
16th, I believe.
Back at Black Apple Crossing. Thanks again to Emerge Entertainment, Kim and Travis, for bringing AJ here to the area, and again bringing him here to the Songwriters Circle. We are going to have you back whenever you come back in June.
Yeah, I'd love to. I appreciate you guys having me out.
So thank you again, and thank you everyone for listening. We are going to go ahead and just peace out now. Bye.